6 years of journalism gave me 18 years of PTSD. So go.
What does the future of the importance of SEO look like? And let's start there.
The future of SEO is going to be intertwined with AI. Be relevant. And as stupid and not clear as that statement is, it's true. Entrepreneurship is doable. Finding what you love is doable. It doesn't even have to be entrepreneurship. You can work in sales for a company and be thrilled.
What is going on, my fellow Summit Chasers? And I am testing out one of our new chairs that will be going into the trailer. Very nice. It's kind of like a little love seat. But welcome to another episode of the Summit Chasers podcast. Very excited for this guest today. Friend of mine, Seth Goldstein. He was actually a former journalist, and apparently he has had a conversation with somebody who is currently in the White House. But I kind of narrowed it down a bit too much for us, but you're going to have to find out. If you haven't caught on, you'll find out when you watch the podcast. But he is absolutely great. A lot of great intention, a lot of great wisdom, especially around SEO and the role AI is going to play in the future of SEO. So stay tuned. Grab your snacks, grab your notebooks. For this one, maybe grab those Doritos Dippables with some mango salsa, and let's go with a diet Dr. Pepper today. And enjoy the show.
What is going on, my fellow Summit Chasers? Welcome to another episode of the Summit Chasers podcast. Very excited for this one. We talked a few months ago. We had a really good conversation. I'm going to be on his podcast here soon. Had to change that one a few times. I wanted to call myself out as we were recording. Had to change that one a few times because I've been running around. We got a lot going on over here, but that's not an excuse. I'm excited to get on your show. But I have Mr. Seth Goldstein on the show, co-founder of Goldstein Media, specializing in web design and the cold co-founder. He specializes in web design and digital marketing. Very excited. Seth, thank you for being here.
How's it going, buddy? How you doing?
Doing great. Better now that we got you on the show.
Yeah, I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled. It's always weird being on the other side.
Yeah, sometimes it is. I was on a few last week, and having to actually being the one to okay, I can talk now. I can ramble a little bit. Feels weird. And then getting asked questions, I'm like, oh, that's weird. But
I'm a former journalist. I used to hate being on the other side of the questions and the other side of the camera. I was a newspaper journalist. I would ask questions and write down answers and stuff like that. And, having people interview me was always weird. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right.
You're used to being the one holding the spotlight. Not
exactly. Holding the spotlight on the person.
Underneath.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Well, let's start here. Let's start with you, a subject that you should be a master in, which I'm sure you are. But give everyone a quick background on yourself and Goldstein Media.
Yeah, so Goldstein Media started at the best time to start a business, at the economic crash of the banks in 2008. Best time to start a business, but I feel like that's when most people started their businesses because they got laid off from their main jobs and they needed to find something. And they were sick and tired of being at the mercy of the man, and they went out and did that. I had been previously working in sales, decided to leave that. Before that, I was a journalist, had major burnout from that. Loved it. 6 years of journalism gave me 18 years of PTSD. So go figure the occupational hazard of the job. But, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Just like you were saying, when you were younger, before the show, you said when you were younger, kickboxing, mixed martial arts was kind of fun for you to do and it made sense. I would not do journalism again. Now. But if I was back in my 20s, I would do it in a heartbeat. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was raw and intense and fun. And it's fun, but it was enjoyable. I mean, there were some heavy topics I had to cover that, you don't always get a counselor to talk it through afterwards. But it was an experience. It was I went in there with the whole romantic notion of Woodward and Bernstein, sticking it to the man, all that stuff. I did stick it to a township once. I sued a township once because they didn't give me their taxes. And I was like, you're hiding something. They're like, we're not hiding anything. Then show me your taxes. And they said, no. So I went to the journalism outfit and legal outfit in Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania, and said, we're suing this township. And they said, okay. So we sued them. They eventually gave me the copies. I even had to pay for the $15 for the copies of the copy machine copies. I was like, fine, I'm not going to fight for that. You should just give them to me, whatever. Nothing was wrong with their taxes. Nothing. And so I went back to them, like, you guys are idiots. I sued you guys because I thought you were hiding something, and we told you. And I'm like, then why don't you just show it to me? He's like, well, we didn't think we had to. I'm like, but you did. So to me, such stupid stuff happened when I was a journalist, but I enjoyed it. That was about as much of sticking it to the man that I did. But so fast forward, did sales for a little while, sold construction boxes to construction sites. Realized I didn't really like that kind of sales, but didn't really think I liked sales at all until I went into Goldstein Media, and I'm like, I enjoy selling websites. I enjoy building websites. I enjoy doing the project management for the sites. I enjoy that kind of sales, and everything's sold. Like your bookcase behind you was the particle board that it's made with, or the wood it was made with, is sold by somebody. It's then sold to you as something you put together by Target or whatever, or IKEA or whatever it is. These bookcases behind me, everything's sold. So it's a evil necessary occupation. But I found out I like to sell when it's something you're passionate about. Some people can sell, the hair off someone's back or whatever. I'm not sure if that term is right or not, but they can sell anything and they enjoy the act of sales. I'm more of a subject matter sales guy. Like I like to sell websites, help people out, and do that. And so 2008, started the business with the sole purpose of getting a full-time job somewhere doing websites. Fast forward 16 years, I'm still doing it, much to my wife's chagrin. She would love it if I got a job, with steady pay and all that, but you know what? Not going to happen. No one's going to hire me now. 16 years into the business, I do what I want to do when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. I sell how I want to sell. I meet the people I want to meet and deal with, and I love it. And so, I did have a brief foray in the corporate world. That was when my son was born. He had some complications at birth. He's fine now. But, I worked for Merck for a while there. Oh, my God. No. Can't kiss people's butts like that. Oh, don't talk to Joe because they haven't had their morning coffee yet. I'm like, kiss my butt. Like I need to talk to Joe about something. I'm going to go talk to Joe about it now. And then Joe gets cranky, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't deal with the politics. So that's how this whole thing gets started.
There's a lot to take away from that.
There is.
Yeah, there's a lot in there that we could dive into. You got a few days for the podcast?
Exactly.
But it is a huge difference when you're selling something that you're passionate about, especially if it's something that you have control over the quality for as well.
Exactly.
It just makes it so much more consistent and something that you can do for, like you said, 16, 17, 18 years.
Yeah, I'm going to die doing this. And it sounds morbid, but like, I'm not going to not like the whole idea of retirement. I never really up for it. I don't really care. That kind of thing. It's like, this is fun. I enjoy this. I'm going to continue doing it.
And it's sad how many people out there don't have that. Like I wonder what the percentage really is. And I'm sure there's been some data collected or consensus is collected on how many people would say something like that. Like I would die doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Probably a pretty low percentage would say that.
Even entrepreneurs, they're always looking for the exit. A lot of them are looking for the exit. They're like, I built something. I'm ready to move on to the next thing. Like I have a lot of side hustles, like Entrepreneurs Enigma, the podcast I'm going to have you on, talking about the entrepreneurial journey, the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. I've practiced that a few times. And then the Marketing Junto, my newsletter, kind of my foray is still kind of into journalism and writing. Those are my side hustles. They all go under Goldstein Media. But Goldstein Media itself, it's just me doing websites and having fun doing what I love to do.
Yeah. And you're so much more likely to get good at that because you have a passion for it. You're more likely to do research on it. You're more likely to practice it. You're more likely to stay up a little bit later and work on this or learn this if you're passionate about the subject.
Yeah. So a lot more than a little bit later. I've stayed out countless times, all-nighters, just working on stuff and realizing, oh, I need to go to bed.
Yeah, I didn't want to go all the way there, so people didn't think they had to. But no, it's not work at that point. You like you said, you got lost in the work, you got lost in the passion. All of a sudden, it's 3 a.m. You're like, oh, I guess I should go to bed, right? Yeah. It's much different than like I have a deadline I have to hit because my boss said so to help make this person more money, so I'm going to stay up. That's different.
Yeah, that's not as fun. Yeah,
no, that's not as fun. So I got a question for you to kind of premise the rest of the show. So what would you obviously you have a very diverse background and you can see things from different angles. But what would you really like everyone listening, the business owners, marketers, whoever it is that's listening, to take away from this discussion?
That it's doable. That entrepreneurship is doable. Finding what you love is doable. It doesn't even have to be entrepreneurship. You can work in sales for a company and be thrilled. They compensate you well. You're happy where you are. The boss respects you, and you bring them in the bottom. Bring the bottom line in, and make them money, and that makes you money. But I want people to take away is that liking your job is possible. You can like your job, and if you don't like your job, find a different job. It's not that easy. It seems easy to say, and it is easy to say because it's just words. But don't get comfortable ever. I'm not comfortable in this job. Absolutely not. Every day is a different journey and a different adventure, and it's terrifying sometimes. But don't get comfortable. If you feel like you're getting complacent and comfortable, find a new job. Even if it's in the same company, ask your boss to give you more different assignments. Change stuff up a little bit, because if you get complacent and get bored, then you're not enjoying your job. You just kind of, it's that way to live.
And you're not growing anymore at that point either. And the world's moving so fast. It's moving so fast, and things are changing
extremely fast. Yeah,
extremely fast. Like you're gonna get, if you're not growing, you're gonna get left behind. Like you have to, in order to grow.
AI, it's just AI alone. It's like you sneeze and they had 5 more iterations. It's like, whoa, calm down. Like it's like within the day. It's not a year. It used to be a decade. Then it used to be like every 5 years. Then it used to be every year, and it stuck at about a year for a while there. And then it went to every 3 months or so, 5 months, half a year. Now it's like daily. There's a new thing popping out. It's like, oh my god, guys, calm down. We don't need this stuff this fast.
So it's very easy. Like you said it yourself. It's very easy to say the words. Like go out, quit the job, start the business, or quit the job, find the new job. It's easy to say that. But for those people that I talk to, or that, have even that's on their social media or having the podcast or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what that is. I feel like I need to find the perfect thing before I can.
Never a perfect thing. There's never something that's perfect. My business is not perfect. Last year sucked revenue wise. It sucked revenue wise. That's not perfect. This year's looking better. The year before that, during the pandemic, was gangbusters for me because like people needed to get online, and I made the most money I ever made in the business because people needed to get their businesses online. Restaurants needed to figure out a way to give out gift cards so they could reimburse, get money when they needed it, and all that stuff happened during the pandemic. Then 2023 happened, and everyone's like, oh, we can calm down now. Now, I'm not saying it's gone by any stretch of imagination. It's an endemic, not a pandemic. It's going to be here forever. It's just another kind of flu, and a coronavirus. Flu is a coronavirus. It's a flu, essentially. We're not going to get into that much, but the idea is that you just need to enjoy what you do. You don't have to like it every day. You're not going to like it every day. You're just not. There's days I get up, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to go back to bed. And there's other days I can't wait to get out of bed and start on the job. And like I have something that I need to get done. I have to get out and start rocking and rolling.
I think that the point you just made, it's the fairy tale. I think it's actually the perception of that there's a fairy tale out there that I'm going to love every moment of what I do. When that just doesn't exist, you can love what you do, but not necessarily enjoy the day-to-day activities in the right now of what you're doing. Like I love what I do. I love doing this. I love working with our clients. Do I like having to go and, film content all the time or post content all the time? Or do I love having to put ads out? Do I love doing all those intricacies and organizing things, my calendar? No, that stuff sucks. Right.
It does.
But I love I wouldn't get to do what I love to do if I didn't do some of the things I don't like to do.
Exactly. And that's the key. You just kind of got to take the good with the bad.
So that's a good question for you, because you went from journalism to sales into marketing, essentially. You started entrepreneurship, but you do digital marketing and design.
Marketing,
How did you find that to be the thing that you love? How did you find, it's not that, I guess there is quite a bit of crossover and skill-wise and
Yeah.
characteristics needed between journalism and marketing. But how did you find that was the thing? What was that process like?
Well, I asked you originally before. I mean, I went to college in 2000, graduated in 2004, so I'm an old hat at this. And I went to Delaware to get, I wanted to go in advertising, but I didn't want to take accounting. I didn't want to do any math if I could avoid it. If I could avoid it, I would avoid math. Much to my chagrin now, I wish I took some more business classes. But so I was like, well, how can I show that I can write? Digital marketing didn't exist in 2000. I feel old thinking about that, but it didn't exist. At least it was not named. There's marketing that was digital, kind of. And you can go to your digital kind of marketing class. No, there wasn't those classes out there. Even the classes now, you can't really do it. You can't really take classes. You gotta learn it, the trade.
Yeah.
And so I said, I always liked journalism. I was like, this sounds like fun. I did my school paper in high school. Everyone in high school knew I was going to become a journalist before I did. I got into journalism. And I loved it. I called now President Biden when he was a senator on the phone because he went to Delaware. I had a story. I called his office. I'm talking to the press secretary. Biden walks by the phone. He's like, who's on the line? He said, the University of Delaware Review. I have a reporter named Seth. So he gets on the phone and talks to me. Biden gets on the phone. And regardless of what you think about Biden politically or whatever, he's an old man, whatever, he's a sweet guy. He called me man a few times. He's like, how's it going, man? That's like his way of talking. And I hear him now and I'm laughing because I'm like, that's the same Joe Biden that I talk to. Like, he's an earthy son of a gun. He's not a polished individual. And he talked to me. I was hooked. I was like, heck, the senator now president, which little did I know he was going to be vice president and president, but the senator who's, a big deal. Yeah, he's from Delaware, which is the second smallest state in the nation, but he wants to talk to me. And I don't remember what we talked about. It was something like infrastructure baloney or whatever, something that wasn't even that interesting. But he was a nice guy. He asked me how school was going, and he's like, I remember my days there. I think he said something. I don't remember this correctly. Is the deer park still there? And I'll talk to you later, man. And he got off the phone, and I was like, for those who are listening, my mouth just dropped open. Like, it was a thrill. And then calling Congress. So we were the student-run independent newspaper of University of Delaware. So Delaware gave us a little bit of funds, but we were separate from. We weren't controlled by the university. So we were literally a journalism outfit, and people wanted to talk to us because we influenced this university, and it was just fun, and that's what got me hooked. And then I forgot that I wanted to do digital marketing. I wanted to do marketing at that point. Okay. And I graduated in 2004, and I was like, I'm going to do journalism. Got a few jobs in journalism, enjoyed it, burnt out. 18 years PTSD, realized, hey, I want to do, sales. Let me try sales. Oh, my wife would then say, you used to design websites in high school. Why don't you do that? That's how it began. Long-winded way of saying that's how it began, thanks to my wife.
No, that's great. There's one thing that when I'm working with especially smaller businesses, kind of just graduating from what you startup, is we use this concept coined by the great Jim Collins. I'm not sure if he made it up. This is where I got it. Is the hedgehog concept, and it's the three intersecting circles of what could you be the best in the world at, what are you most passionate about, what drives your economic engine. And it was always what you're most passionate about that I could kind of use as a gauge on, is this person going to stick with this? But it's how do you really define what you're passionate about? And usually it's something that, like, it goes back to your childhood. It goes back a long ways. What's something that you always kind of come back to? What's that thing that when things are tough, you're able to rely on, or you come back to as your passion, as something that you just naturally do? And for you, I mean, it seemed like it was marketing, because you started out that kind of being a goal of yours, right? And whether it's digital marketing, marketing in general.
Forgotten goal. Sidetrack.
Then you came back to it. You came back to it. So that's, anyways.
Well, and I look back now. I look back now, and I look at my dad, and look at my mom, and they're both PhDs. My dad's a microbiologist. My mom's a psychologist, and she's retired now. My dad's a microbiologist that will never stop working. We always joke that he'll drop dead pipetting cells. But when they just keel over, and we'll find them 5 days later, the whole place will stink. Love you, Dad. But we'll find them. Like, where is Dad? And oh, he's probably at work. And he's 100 years old, still working on cells, and he just dropped. And that's the way he wants to go. It's like the happiest thing he can think of is he loves his work. But thinking back to this was that entrepreneurship is in my blood, because my dad has always started biotech companies, and small little rinky-dink biotech companies that he's got funding for, and cancer research and all that. My mom is an accidental entrepreneur. She took over my grandfather's developmental psychology business and worked for the testing on C-suite individuals going for jobs. And then she eventually left that, went and worked at schools as a school psychologist, and went working back, and molding young minds and figuring out why they're being goofy and that kind of stuff. But entrepreneurship, as much as like marketing, has always been in my blood. So, a little side tangent there too. So.
No, it's again, that's something that to identify, if people just sit there and be like, well, I like motorbikes. Is that what I'm passionate about? I like to take long drives on Sundays. Is that what I'm passionate about? That's not, it's what are you willing to stay up till 3 a.m. without knowing what time it is? And it's just what you naturally, like, I could die doing that. I could die doing this, right? It's kind of this weird definition. I don't think a lot of people just, they mix up, I like doing this.
Think about it. It's a little morbid.
It's a little morbid, but I mean,
it's true.
It is what it is, though. It is what it is. I mean, say what you want about death, if whoever's listening to religious
we're
or
all
not.
gonna die.
We're all going to die eventually. Why not die doing something that you love and you can make a positive impact in the world doing?
Amen.
I mean, why not, right? So I'm going to go into like the digital marketing part of things now.
Yeah.
So I've talked to a lot of marketers, whether it's in businesses, talking to myself in my own businesses, interviews, etc. And they all seem to have a kind of their own philosophy. Some very similar, some that even maybe challenge the more mainstream ideation. What is your kind of philosophy of what differentiates, successful use of digital marketing and, I like to say, wasteful use of digital marketing?
It's not planning. You have to plan. You really have to think things out, write it down on a piece of paper, and put it in order at the simplest terms. Because wasteful is when you just throw stuff at the wall with no rhyme or reason to it. You put an ad out and it isn't converting well. Well, what did you think it through? Did you think about, is this going to be compelling enough for someone to come through and click through and find out about your network, about your business, about whatever you're doing? You have to think about it stuff before you jump into it. And that's the difference between wasteful. Well, that depends on each individual task. I mean, for an ad, you want to make sure that your call to action's proper. Like, let's chat today, or get in touch, or see what you're missing out. Don't miss out now, or whatever. And then you have the copy above it explain why it's important to not miss out. But if you don't do that, you just say, buy my shit, pardon my language, but buy my shit, essentially. Click here. And the buttons click here. Like, no one's going to click there. Unless they accidentally click there, then they're jumping off your site really fast because they don't want to be there.
So I guess you might have just explained it, but what would be the difference between a good, high-performing call to action and, you gave a good example of what a bad one would be like, but, some that maybe aren't quite as obviously bad, but what would kind of be like the small nuances with the differences between a good and a bad call to action?
A good call to action makes people want to click. Makes you want to contact the person, find out more information. A bad call to action makes them jump, makes them bounce off the site, and doesn't convert to anything. Doesn't even convert to a visit, or converts to a visit and it's an accidental click, which doesn't do anyone any good. And if anything, if it's an ad, it costs you money.
What's like the most common? Because you have some people who, they think like, well, my call to action's good. I'm just telling them to, book a call. I'm just asking them to do this. What was kind of like the most common, I guess, when you look at these call to actions? What would be like the most common misconception of what makes a good or a bad one? Is
it converting? Then that's a good call to action. Doesn't matter if you think it's a good call to action or not. You might think your thing is the best thing in mankind. Are you getting calls? No? Then your call to action sucks. You did something wrong. Go fix it. Do an A/B test.
So it's just that simple. Just look at the data.
Is it converting? Yes or no? It's that simple, because if it's not converting, you might love the way the site's designed, but it's not hitting the people right. it's really people think like, oh, marketing is complex. It's it's a lot to think about. It's like the perfect formula and all that stuff. Sometimes there is, but it's a lot of psychology, and it's also just common sense. If it's not converting, you're doing something wrong. Go back, try something different. Do it. I really am a big proponent of A/B tests, where you set up a plugin in WordPress or whatever, and you say, 50, a certain percentage is getting this one, another percentage is getting this version. Which one's performing better? There you go. Go with the one that's performing better.
Well, and that's kind of a proponent to like kind of a shift for me too in my marketing. Like years ago, I would try to figure it out before I figured it out, if that made sense. I would try to formulate this perfect ad copy and video, and then to the perfect click funnel and all this kind of stuff before I even tested it. So I wasted all this time. I wasted all this time trying to get it perfect, and then I would think it's perfect. I would think it's perfect, but my clients or my prospects don't, like my market doesn't. And then I'm like, why doesn't that work? I spent a month trying to get this right, or 2 weeks trying to get this right, and then it doesn't.
You didn't test fast
when
enough.
You could have had 2 or 3 iterations in that time. Cost you a little bit of money, but that's it's a lot less than taking the time. Now you're losing time. Time is money.
Time is money. People forget that. Like, oh, it's just my time. Like I could spend all the time in the world on it. All the time in the world is going to add up. What else could you be doing with that time that actually make you money than mucking around with a page that isn't making you money?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to hit on something, SEO.
Yeah.
People are scared that SEO, especially Google SEO, with some of the changes that might be coming down the pipeline, with the way AI is being utilized and the way Google's kind of trying to defend against it almost. What does the future of the importance of SEO look like? And let's start there.
The future of SEO is going to be intertwined with AI. Like if you go to something like Perplexity.ai that combines Claude, which is Anthropic's version, and ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's version, the goal is going to be not to be on the top of the search listings anymore. It's going to be one of those citations. So it's going to, AI is going to steal your shit. It's going to steal your copy and do whatever the hell it wants with it. It's going to say, forget you. It's not like you have no recourse. You can block them, but you're blocking potential traffic. And that's stupid. You want to be found in AI, but now that AI is citing its sources, you want to be that 1, 2, or 3 of those. You want to be number 1 in those citations, saying this is where I found the content. People reading this are saying, oh, I found myself looking at the citations. People don't trust AI verbatim. They don't. They're like, well, where the hell did they come up with this crap? Well, this crap is actually not crap, and came up with it from this site. And they're going to click that citation, and if the AI is worth its salt, it's going to give you citations. It's going to say, this is where I found this topic, this point I'm making. You can click through and read the page that it pulled out. So it's still SEO. It's just figuring out how to make yourself show up in the resources that it's pulling from to get that citation. So ChatGPT pulls from Bing. Everyone knocks Bing for being like only like 20% of don't quote me on these numbers, but like small amount compared to Google of the search traffic. Doesn't matter anymore. ChatGPT runs on Bing. So if you're ranking high for web designers in Doylestown, and someone says, what's the best web designer in Doylestown? And you're ranking high in Bing, you might get a citation saying, well, Goldstein Media, this company, all seem to be really high ranking and well worth checking. And it also then cite your reviews and all that stuff. They'll pull a bunch of stuff in. So I really think AI is search, and search is going to be augmented by AI now. It's not doomsaying. It's just going to change how SEO is done, and it might even make it more honest. Because I don't think you can game it as easily. Like it's not like, oh, put all the keywords in the URL. Remember that, where trucks would drive down the street and we say cabinets in Bucks County.com. It's the name of the damn company. They all see their company as cabinets in Bucks County, or dentist near me. Well, near me is near the person who's searching, not necessarily your locations. That was the dumbest thing I ever saw in my life. I'm like, oh my God. Of course
that was real.
That was real. Dentist near me. And it's like, well, that's great. You just give someone searching for dentist near me, but they're not near them. They're going to get a different dentist.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a little bit of a hot button topic for me, clearly, but still.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, they even SEO. I mean, it cleaned up because you used to be able to embed the keywords into like the pictures and the graphics,
You
and
used
then
to be able to actually write the keywords. There used to be a meta tag called keywords, and you
yeah.
could just put all your keywords down there and call it a day. Google's
Mhm.
like, no. It doesn't even look at the keyword. If you put the keyword metadata in, you're hurting yourself.
Oh, really?
If you put the keyword metadata in, the
Yeah,
meta
okay.
keywords in, and you don't do a description, title description and description are important
Gotcha.
ones. The keywords field doesn't exist anymore.
So
But
where
it's
would
it.
you, you're a small business owner, you don't necessarily have a marketer, other than hiring you, which they should do. What can they do how can they adjust, how they use their keywords, their websites, their blogs, that kind of stuff? Is there anything they need to really adjust, or what can they do to be optimized to show up in these citations?
Be relevant. And as stupid and not clear as that statement is, it's true. Google's now saying, don't write for us. I mean, for crying out loud, Matt Cutts, the old DOG of search, has for the longest time been ripping his hair out saying, guys, just write for people. We'll figure it out. Well, guess what? We're figuring it out. Finally, he doesn't even work for Google. I think he's retired now, even. Like, and he's sitting there, and I've met Matt Cutts, and he's always like, he said, like, he shakes his head at us. Like, he's like, guys, just write good content. I mean, mention that you're a Bucks County web design company. Mention that, but don't make it natural. Make it so it sounds like, hey, Goldstein Media, we're based in Bucks County. We do web design, da, 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 da. If you're mentioning your company, you're talking about your business, you're going to talk about your keywords.
No, I think that's great advice. Yeah, that's really good advice, because we came from, and we still are, we don't try to put out good information. We don't try to be authentic. We don't try to provide a good service. We try to game the system. That was the goal. We're now, I do see, because this is a pretty steady trend that I'm seeing when I ask these questions and when I'm doing my own research, is that being authentic is starting to slowly step up with importance, and being genuine and creating relationships with the people that you're communicating to. That is becoming more and more important. And it's almost like people are like, well, there's got to be something easier than that. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a shortcut to this. But it's getting to the point where there's not.
There's no shortcuts. Just write good content. Now, the thing I'm going to say is that you have to write content. You got to put stuff out. You can't just put a cookie cutter website and leave it and call it a day and expect to get ranked. You have to put work into it. You have to write blog posts or videos or whatever. And, you have to put stuff on LinkedIn. Yeah, it's work. But guess what? Hire someone like me, or hire a kid out of college that can work on your blog post for you. There's plenty of kids coming out of college that don't have jobs lined up that need work. They will be more than happy to write blog posts about concrete siding. Concrete siding, that doesn't even exist, but concrete driveways and stuff like that. And to be happy to get a job in the industry.
Yeah, this is the kind of answers that people just don't want to hear. Just put in the work. And over time, and this is I don't know if you're familiar with who Mr. Beast is on YouTube, but he's fascinating, really. And he gets asked that all the time. How do I make viral videos? And everyone leans in and they're waiting for him to say something like, okay, so you're going to want to use this type of sound. You're going to want to make these type of cuts, and you're going to want to want to post it this time of day. He's like, just put out content that people want to watch. Like this.
It's not even that. You know how many busts he's had?
He's also put out tens of thousands of videos.
He puts out so much content. And I guarantee you probably 45 to 50% of the stuff he puts out is total crap. He might take it down if it's not performing. Thus, you're seeing only the good stuff. But I guarantee you the guy has put out some pretty bad doo-doo, for lack of a better word.
He admits it. He admits that
it's garbage. I mean, honestly, stuff now is garbage. Just people like to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's viral garbage. I mean, look at this yacht. Here's a $5 yacht. It's a rowboat. Here's a $10,000 yacht. Here's a $1 billion yacht. It's not a yacht. It's a cruise ship, you idiot. People are going to look to find out what works. People are going to look to see what that $1 billion yacht is, which is not even a freaking yacht.
He knows what works. He knows what works, but he knows what works because he's done the work beforehand. And there's a great saying, like volume, like quality will always beat volume in the long term, but you need to do volume in order to get quality.
Yeah,
And then you put out.
Quantity is sometimes above quality. Quality will come. Exactly. Quality will come. It should come. If it doesn't come, then you have an issue.
You're just not learning. You're not intentionally learning as you're doing the volume. You're just throwing.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, you're just throwing stuff. Yeah. Well, and that's where this is one of the things that I've been preaching a lot lately is doing things with intentionality. Like it drives me nuts when I have people that are like, well, I have 30 years of experience doing this. I'm like, okay, do you have 30 years of intentional learning, improving every year experience, or did you get good after the first 3 years and then you have 27 years of posting? Like those are two different things. So if you want to create if you want to put lots of content out there and get, show up high in the search and then the citations or get lots of, subscribers on YouTube, do 1,000 videos, but try to get better each time. Don't get better in the first 10 and then throw out 990 crap videos that you're not learning from. Those are two different things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's totally key.
I love it. So Seth, I got a question for you. I ask everybody this question. What is the next summit? What is the next summit that you are chasing, whether it's in your company or just with your personal life?
I'm trying to get Entrepreneurs Enigma found more. There's two sides to Entrepreneurs Enigma, my podcast. One's meeting people like you and chit-chatting and growing my network. That's the big one. And I've reached that summit, and now I'm reaching the next summit. We're going to Everest next. We're Kilimanjaro. We're really going to kill this analogy. We're now going to go to Everest and attack that summit, and then we're going to go to the moon. Whatever. We're going to keep reaching higher and higher on the networking side of things. But I would love to get Entrepreneurs Enigma into more people's ears. Just get into more people's ears. Because I'll have like 500 people an episode listen, which is fantastic in my opinion. 500 people actually want to hear my voice. Damn, it's not that good of a voice. So that's more content.
That's about the same size as the town I'm from. So I mean, that's a lot of
everyone in Arkansas, everyone in your town in Arkansas is listening to it. Yay!
I'm from a small town in Canada is where I'm from, but yeah, I mean, there's smaller places here than that. There's smaller places than that here for sure. But and that's the other thing too. I mean, to hit on another point before we finish up here is we get so obsessed with vanity metrics. Like, I have 20,000 subscribers or I have 20,000 viewers, but okay, how many of those actually give a shit about what you're saying? Right?
Amen.
I'd rather have 1,000 or 500 people who listen to what I say and buy into what I say and and engage and get out of it and go and take it out and use it in the world than have 10,000 or 100,000 people that just listen for 2 minutes or just just don't do anything with it. Right? Yeah. I
don't want to have subscribers. I want listeners. I want people. Exactly. Subscribers are great. Like, great. You subscribe to my podcast. Have you listened to it yet? We're dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I want 50 summit chasers. I want 5,000, whatever. I love it. But hopefully we can play a part in getting you to the moon and then to the stars. Yeah. So where can everybody find you? Take 30 seconds, take a minute, plug whatever you want to plug.
Pretty much go to entrepreneursenigma.com, subscribe, and listen to the podcast. I would love you forever for that. Goldstein Media is the parent company of everything. Marketing Junto is the newsletter. And if you get lost anywhere on there, just go to SethGoldstein.id. It's like identification. SethGoldstein.id brings you to a page that has all my links.
And we're going to put all that in the description below. But thank you very much, Seth, for being here. Sure. This was a lot of fun. I'm very excited to be on your podcast. But everybody listening, until next time, keep chasing your next summit.